Good afternoon, Istanbul. Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. And before we start, I want to take the opportunity and say thank you very much for having me. And I'm really super excited, and I think it's awesome to bring Slush to Istanbul. And what we have seen so far on the first day, I think is amazing in terms of the atmosphere and how vibrant it is. No wonder, given the outstanding ecosystem here in Turkey and in Istanbul. So also, given the fact that Turkey is I wouldn't even say a rising star, but already established player in the app economy, and big in mobile, I hope that the next topic in the next session can contribute some value. Because we're talking about the next growth loop, which is intent detection on your phone. So that's a quote that I read recently. With mobile hardware getting ever more powerful, perhaps the future of AI in apps is on the device itself. That was in a blog post of somebody writing about his recent findings at a conference in Singapore, and I couldn't agree more. So what we are going to talk about is, imagine the following situation. So you are on the street, and you walk down the street, and you open Airbnb. Most probably, you're looking for the key code of the apartment that you have booked. But if you are at home, comfy on your sofa or in your bed, and open Airbnb, you probably plan your next vacation. So what does that tell us? It tells us that there can be two users on the same app, but they are in wildly different contexts. And if we treat these situations in the same way based on user experience, we are leaving money on the table. So humans are constantly moving in a three-dimensional space using their phones to solve everyday problems, to entertain themselves, to distract themselves. And understanding where they are, in which situations they are, can be crucial to improve the user experience, ultimately leading to better engagement, better retention, and better monetization. So if we talk about that, we need to talk about the topic of time. It's about time and timing. And to do that, we go back a couple of thousand years to the old Greeks, because they knew two different concepts of time. One was defined as chronos, also on the side, father of Zeus. And chronos was the god of time in terms of the continuity of time. That part of time that is inevitable for all of us. That concept of time that our whole world is running around. But then there is this other concept of time in this duality of concepts, which is kairos, another god, which stands for a certain opportunity, a certain moment, a moment in time where things can work out, which in other moments wouldn't work out. So let's keep that in mind, kairos as a certain opportunity that we want to seize and make use of. And the market that we are looking at, I already said that, is the market of mobile, which is by all means impressive and outstanding, because it is the world's dominant platform when it comes to ownership of web traffic, and when it comes to the number of subscriptions of being people connected to the internet. So it's a massive opportunity on a global scale. But let's go back to the example of Airbnb and the gap that we're experiencing, which is that apps are somehow blind to the context. So imagine it's a game, right? And you have two users of the same cohort, right? It's the same segment. They're heavy users of the game. They use it a couple of times a week, sometimes daily. But then imagine these different two situations. On the one hand, there is Melissa, and she's waiting at the port for the ferry. She's got like 5 minutes to kill, and she wants to play a quick round. She knows exactly what she wants to do. But because she's in that cohort, the app, the game, shows her a full screen ad offering her a premium subscription, because based on the cohort, she would be in that situation. She's pissed off because it was the wrong time. Murat, at the same time, the same evening, Nishantash is at home in his apartment, having 20 to 30 minutes to kill time and wants to play his favorite game. So he has time, he's sitting on the sofa, perfect Wi-Fi connection, and wants to play. This would be a great time to make to him that subscription offer. But in this case, they didn't do it. So we personalize who you are, but we ignore what you are doing right now. That means identity is not context, and the moment should be decisive when it comes to make a decision. That leads us to on-device context. What is it? Imagine there's a technology that harvests more than 300 signals on your modern smartphone, coming from accelerometer, gyroscope, and all the other freely available data sources. We put that together, and through cross-referencing and statistical and mathematical methods and machine learning executed on device, we can precisely assess the real-world context that you are in when you are using your smartphone and app. Why on device? Because it runs all locally. That allows us to do that super privacy concerned. No ATT, no permissions needed, out of the box, GDPR compliant, because we don't collect any PII. How it works, we take the raw signals and with our lightweight edge models, interpret it into intent, and based on that, we take decisions. What does it help with? What does it power? It helps to make better decisions. It's a decision maker of last resort on device to give you an idea, is it a good moment or a bad moment to show an offer, to show an in-app purchasing prompt, to show an app rating prompt, or whatever you want to improve in your app. So what is so exciting about that is we are rooted in the world of physics, because the accelerometer and the gyroscope are delivering data in the world of physics. Why is that interesting at all? Because marketing, as we know it, is a social science. That's great for one part, but on the other hand, social sciences are rooted based on opinions, and opinions can change fast. Natural sciences, not so much. Because if I have an apple and let the apple fall, it will fall to the floor no matter what my opinion is or your opinion is. That means the category of data that we created and collect is of very high integrity. It is a strong currency. We also tap into the subconscious because we don't think about how we hold our phone or how we use it. We just do it. And we interpret these signals and make meaning out of it. So a survey can tell you what people think, but motion shows you what they do, and that is even more interesting. So why now? Because today we have the environment to do it. We have the powerful handsets. We have great upsides when doing that, and there's a couple of more people in the market that think right now is the time for on-device. What's the business impact behind that? Because the topic of our discussion today here is the next growth loop. See, in the last 2 decades, billions and billions have been invested into the app economy because of that device that is the Swiss Army knife of our days that we use again and again and again, like 76 times statistically every day. So all these investments have done a great thing to create contextuality, to understand the user. But this is all rooted in server-side data. This is the data that is in the cloud on your servers that needs back-end computation. So basically, this is quite a crowded space. We have network latency. And that all in a market that is defined by rising customer acquisition cost because of the increasing competitiveness. Think of Lovable. People can shoot out apps every weekend. So that is what we typically call a red ocean. And it is already super out-optimized. There's not that much to be gained out of these systems. We believe the blue ocean out there, providing the leverage for the next growth loop, is on device. This is where we are at the beginning. So it's a new signal space. It is rooted in the world of physics. It's instant. We can do offline decisions no matter what the network quality is. And there's tons of opportunities we are just starting to understand what we can do with this new category of data. So if we compare on the more technical side, the on-device versus server side, let's look again at these 4 decisive factors: latency, cost, resilience, and trust. So first of all, latency. I mean, that's clear. When it's about latency, edge wins. Because inference happens locally, you don't have to do the network round trip, and that means you can do any decision at the beginning of a session with no chit at all. Second, cost. If you run huge operations, you're a publishing house, you have a portfolio of 30 apps with millions of users, you have to think about costs and scaling costs. So on device, the compute runs on the phone of your customers. That's great, because they take on a little bit of that cost structure. Resilience. Also, if you are on device, the decisions there, they don't require connectivity. It doesn't matter if on the ferry the connection is sketchy, they're in a tunnel or somewhere where they have bad connection. And last but not least, this technology has been built under the circumstances of GDPR. It is designed based on privacy by nature. So we can do what we do without collecting PII, meaning it is out-of-the-box GDPR compliant. Because if you have machine learning models running on device, you don't need to know who that person is. You just need to have statistical significance to make a decision, is this a good moment or a bad moment for triggering that decision. So what we are building here is what I like to call a data infrastructure layer. And what do I mean when I say that? It's a foundational layer of a new data category that we call on-device contextual information. And as a startup, as ContextSDK, we have built so far first applications and products on top of that infrastructure layer. Context decision that allows you, with the help of machine learning, to improve any given prompt within your app while the app is being used. Or context push that brings the same capability to push notifications, seamlessly integrating with push notification services such as OneSignal or Custom.io or Firebase, and allowing you to send your push notifications not only based on a server-based timestamp, like on Thursday 2 p.m., but on Thursday afternoon between 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. when the timing is right. How we do that? With background wake-up calls, checking for 2 seconds the real-world context, and if it is a great context because the user is engaged, is at the table using their phone, we release it. If the phone is locked face down on the table, you wouldn't release it because the chance of interaction is pretty low. But there's so much more that you can do, and we're currently exploring the world of ad tech. So we have integrated successfully in the first ad network. So think about using these first-party data signals as golden signals that can be used as bidding parameters in a programmatic advertising case. Or another application, think about fraud detection. In a world of mobile where lots of companies have 7-digit budgets on a monthly basis for user acquisition, you want to make sure that you can identify any fraud, right? And for example, if a phone is tucked to the wall and does not move because it's part of a device farm, that's a great technology to identify that. But that's just the beginning. So we are proving the point that this new data category is here to stay, to be a huge leverage for the mobile industry and the app economy of tomorrow by building applications and products. But in the future, we believe that there will be thousands of engineers and data scientists building products and offerings on top of that data layer. For example, for the topic of churn prediction, imagine if you could collect data that gives you insights to say, like, this statistically is the 5th last session of your user. So then you have 4 more sessions to make an intervention and win them back. Or in games, players with rage quit detection to see if they are fed up or on top of their nerves because they lost the level or whatsoever, to prevent churning, or to use that data for the complete live ops and monetization cycle, and so on, and so on, and so on. I think we're just at the beginning of understanding what we can do. So it's a combination of a foundational layer, a data infrastructure layer, and the application layer. We have, in the last 1.5 years, onboarded more than 60 apps onto our platform and technology. We have processed more than 30 billion events. We have built a scalable infrastructure that today processes more than 50 million events daily. And this is, for example, one interesting case study with the app of Wiz, part of Voodoo, a Gen Z dating app that showed amazing numbers, which is 81% lift in conversion rate with optimized timing for in-app offers, and a 20% boost in lifetime value because you get the timing right. Or you can achieve 80% of the sales with just 20% of the prompts, which has a great effect on LTV because you're less annoying by far. Another one in gaming, just recently published, Black Box, a very sophisticated puzzle game, where we also helped to get the timing right on their premium products prompts with a revenue boost of 50% and a constant uplift of conversion of more than 12%. So what I also brought here is to kind of an outline, how does a 30-day pilot look like? So basically, within 30 days, you can find out if this technology can boost and leverage your app or your game. Like in the first week, in the first days, you align on what experiment you want to launch. Then in week 1, you will integrate the SDK that's for a seasoned engineer, a day of work max. You start the data collection, meaning you're in calibration mode for the prompt that you want to optimize. Then we are able to train a model, release the model, you run and learn and iterate, and then you can decide after 30 days, is that a technology that we want to roll out? So when you think about building a roadmap for 2026, I propose to really think about if on-device AI should be a part of that roadmap, if you're a publishing house, a large app, a gaming company. And how you could do that, thinking about the whole next year, is to say like, hey, in Q1, we start with the first in-app purchasing experiments. We expand that in Q2 from IAP to subscription. We build a playbook, and if you're a house with 30 titles plus, then you start a rollout based on the playbook across your portfolio in Q3, and in Q4, you can iterate on the results and then start exploring, for example, fraud detection. Looking at North Stars, such as conversion uplift, LTV uplift, session depth, lowering your customer acquisition cost, and lowering your churn. So thank you for taking the time, because I cannot imagine the future of mobile without leveraging on-device contextual data. If you think that's interesting, you might want to download our test flight app that gives you the opportunity to play with that technology on your phone to better understand how do we harvest that signals, how do we collect it, and how do we turn it into clear signals that let us make decisions for better mobile app experiences. Thank you, and ContextSDK, that's personalization that actually works for the user. Thank you so much.